seriously, is it what you
What's
want?
up, everyone? It's the podcast that keeps on going and keeps on chugging along. It's like molasses sliding down a stairway to heaven. It's the podcast, Is This What You Want? And it's me, Matt O'Brien, across from me as always, the vivacious, the vehicular, the venison-loving Julia Ladkowitz.
Hello, it's me, Vehicular Woman, and I love to eat deer. Venison is deer, right?
Yes.
Hello.
Do you like deer?
I like the animal, the deer. I've never eaten a deer.
You tried it in Victoria, BC that one time with me.
What?
Venison.
Oh, right. You ate deer that day.
Yeah, I kind of regret it because I don't think I ever... Here's the thing. I shouldn't be eating any animals because isn't the rule you should be able to kill it yourself?
You should be able to kill an animal yourself if you're willing to eat it. And that's why I think we should maybe rethink our relationship with meat. Because the other day, I remember Matt got a targeted ad for Amazon. And it was like, come visit our warehouse. And Matt's like, I don't want to see where these poor people work. And I'm like...
Oh, like an Amazon warehouse.
An Amazon
like an
warehouse.
Amazon delivery warehouse.
Like, come see the warehouse. Like, they were offering tours. Matt's like, why would I want to do that? I don't want to go to that. I'm like, well... If you're willing to eat the animal, you should be willing to go to the slaughterhouse.
Yeah, don't tell the people working there that you called them animals ripe for the slaughter.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you enjoy ordering from Amazon and being like, oh, it's so convenient and lovely, then you at least have to see the conditions under which these people work. But they're clearly jazzing it up.
That's what I was about to say. Here's the thing with an Amazon tour is they probably created a wing. They probably hired actors to be like, I'm boxing merchandise and I am loving it. I am fully rested and I have not pissed in a mop bucket in ever.
I don't piss in mop buckets and I get proper breaks, I swear.
Yeah. So
it's like when Shein, that fast fashion brand, if you buy from Shein, stop.
Never heard of Shein in my life.
Well, you wouldn't buy.
Is that a Kim Kardashian joint?
It isn't a Kim Kardashian joint.
Doesn't she have one called Flex or Flub or
I think it's
Tug?
Skims.
Skims.
Apparently it's all right.
Okay.
Anyway, so Shein is fat. There's a lot of fast fashion out there, but Shein is like to the max. And then they brought a lot of influencers. They're like, come visit our warehouse and somewhere in China or wherever it was. And all the influencers were like, everybody seems happy, whatever. And it's like, okay, you got paid off, basically. You got a free trip. They cleaned everything up and...
You got duped and gooped.
You got duped and gooped. And nobody is transparent online anymore at all. The amount of... Because I watch so many like skincare videos.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, hi, I'm 37 and I don't have any wrinkles and there's no filters. I don't use any Botox. I don't use this, that, the other. And clearly, yeah, you do. And if you don't, but what's so disarming? What's so disheartening?
Disalarming.
What's disheartening is even the comments will be like, I'm 50 and I have less wrinkles than you. So whatever. It's like, can we all just agree that we all age at different paces and differently and just fucking fuck off?
Two things. When we're talking about companies glamming themselves up for visitors, that goes all the way down to when we have people over.
Oh yeah,
we're cleaning things up and we're like, listen, we have a pretty clean house, but we're keeping it real tight when people come over.
Absolutely.
So that's what these companies are doing. They're cleaning their toilet before the people come and shit in it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And it's the same thing. I remember when I used to work at Starbucks and it's like, oh, the health inspector is coming by.
Oh, yeah.
And trust me, we would keep... Our Starbucks was very clean. We had duties that we always had to do and and it was kept clean. But when the health inspector came by, because in Canada, it's basically, if it's not a pass, it's a fail.
Yeah. You don't get like a letter... Like down here in California, it's like A, B, C. I've only seen one C. And that restaurant was still open. I'm like, how are you even getting out of bed in the morning? But even a B.
But it's crazy because if someone came into our kitchen or your kitchen and saw how you were cooking, you would probably have an F. But
our kitchen's clean.
Our kitchen is clean, but like the practices, they're like, oh, I see that you use this this schmata, what is it called?
Dish rag?
A dish rag, a schmata. My mom used to always go to schmata. It's a Yiddish anyway. Use a schmata to clean this up, and then you also use the schmata on this. Haha, but you should be using a new schmata.
Listen,
anyway.
When I'm in the kitchen doing dishes, will I rest my hand between my ass cheeks? It's comfortable. Is it hygienic? No. We don't need a health person coming over telling me to not rest my hand between my butt cheeks.
I mean, it depends on how good you're washing your ass.
I have a very clean ass, too.
I mean, I always hear you bidetting your ass.
I really go for it in there. Sometimes, here's the thing with this bidet is sometimes the angle is a bit off because our toilet seat moves around, and I'll have to lean forward, but then the water will shoot up the back of my ass.
That never happens
and then
to me.
go onto the seat. So sometimes our seat is very clean because sometimes it'll get
Yeah, your poo
wetness.
water gets on the seat.
It's not poo water.
It's poo water.
It's the poo water is dripping down, and the clean butt cheek water. If anything, this settles. My butt cheeks are very clean. They in between, of course, they're getting sprayed.
Yeah, I hope you don't have shit caked in between your butt cheeks.
No.
Speaking about shit caked in between the butt cheeks, before we get, you know what? Yeah, let's just no.
You know what I was going to say? One more thing when you were talking about like beauty and stuff like that is I saw this recently. I think it was real too. It was like a picture of a guy like balding, and he's like eats healthy, works out, has a home, and then a picture of a homeless guy with beautiful hair and a long beard, and they're like a homeless man, all this hair. And like we're really reaching for, like they were basically trying to.
What was the point of any of this?
They were trying to imply that be like the homeless man doesn't have these hair growth resources and doesn't eat the food that he eats, and it's just like it's implying that if you are homed and have money, then you are
balding
stupid. And being poisoned by society versus being homeless
my God.
and natural.
Meanwhile, you can be bald and homeless, and you can be homed and full of hair.
Yeah.
So
Mother Nature is a mad scientist.
That's actually ridiculous. But speaking of ridiculous, it's Chappy Hour, everybody.
It is Chappy Hour, the only happy hour dedicated to the worst robot movie of all time that Julia has not seen, but she must watch if she's on an airplane and it happens to be an option.
And I will be on a plane to McAllister, Oklahoma. Actually, I will be flying into Tulsa next week, so I will be checking.
You have to check.
I forgot what the airline is, but
some flights have a lot of movies. Sometimes it's like you click on the all movies option, especially on Air Canada, and it's like A to Z, and you're just like,
And there's movies from like 1974, and you're like, what is this deep cut of a film I've never heard of?
Air Canada is really funny because they'll have like French Canadian stuff.
Yeah, le bonbon qui m'en fout.
Yeah, le petit garçon, and it's
the
just
little
like
boy.
The little boy. Have you seen that movie, The Little Boy? It's in French. Here comes Shan. She's gonna start digging at her bed. She was a big hit in the last podcast clip.
Oh, yeah.
And by big hit, I mean it was watched somewhat.
It had about 800 views, which is not good. So just to keep in mind...
It got over 1,000.
Oh, okay. We are posting podcast clips every week, so make sure to check them out on our socials, everybody.
Yeah.
But what I was saying about shit-crusted ass...
Does this lead into Chappy Hour?
Oh, I guess... no.
No, go back to shit-crusted ass. The
Okay.
people are wanting it.
So... First of all, for Chappy Hour, we are chapping. I think it's a Sauvignon Blanc. I don't truly care because, dear listener or viewers, we are going to see Thundercat tonight. So we will get into that in a bit. But that's why we're kind of dressed like... I mean, this isn't even what I'm wearing because what I want to wear, I don't want to sweat in too much.
Well, here's the thing is we're like, let's dress stupid. So I'm pretty much wearing what I wear all the time when I go out.
But with a captain's hat.
With a captain's hat. But captain is spelt wrong.
Yeah, CAPTAN, Captan.
Yeah. So I am the captain of the Thundercat concert tonight.
I'm just wearing wacky makeup, but okay. So
can you get to the shit-filled ass, please?
Well, shit-crusted ass cheeks. So I was gonna make this my that was stupid segment, but something else stupid happened. So this I just can't even hold this in any longer.
Yeah.
So last week we were talking a lot about shitting your pants.
Our pants.
Shitting our pants.
Collective, the royal we.
Shitting everybody shitting their pants. And about how this other podcast, this guy was like, I shit my pants every week for every Tuesday for 3 weeks. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, who are these people shitting their pants? This is absolutely
They're
insane.
From the South.
Next day after we record the podcast, guess who shits her pants?
I don't know. I'm stuck.
It wasn't Shangela. It was me. It was me, Julia, Yvonne, Chapman-Ladkowitz. I shit my pants literally the next day, and that's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, oh my God, this is the law of attraction. This is the universe. I willed this to happen.
You really did manifest it. It was a day that actually kind of perfect for me. I did leave. I left to go to the Bay Area, so I was on the road, and I was getting rapid fire texts from you saying that you shit your pants.
Well, so Matt left, and I'm on a bit of a running plan because I'm training for my 10K, and I'm quite out of the loop when it comes to running. So I'm trying to stick to it. And it was a day that I was running 6.4 kilometers, which is 4 miles, which for most people, not a lot. But for me, haven't done it in a while.
Sure.
I had 2 hard-boiled eggs. I chugged some coffee. What could go wrong?
I'm probably nothing, but I have a feeling something went wrong.
So I go out and I'm already not feeling like, I'm not 100%. So I go and I run, and it's been a heat wave in LA. So it was a really hot day. I waited too long. I waited till like 11 to go for my run.
Too late.
So it's peak sunshine. It's really hot. And at the end, I'm just really pushing myself. I'm like, come on. I'm like, you're almost done. Run, run, run. And after that, I'm like, and then I have a nice like 10-minute walk home to like cool down. Perfect. As soon as I finish the run, it's like my body shuts down and I'm like, I'm going to barf. I'm like, heh, heh. And I'm like, anybody who saw me, I'm like stumbling. I almost can't walk straight. I'm like, I'm going to collapse. Like
People were probably like, look at the hair on that homeless woman. It's beautiful. See, this is why you be homeless.
Well, it's matted to my head. And I'm like, I'm sweating. I'm just like, I'm like, should I almost just sat down because I'm like, I feel so sick. I'm like, no, just keep walking, breathe. It's fine. And then I'm waiting for the stoplight to cross, Valley.
You don't have to say the name of the intersection. It doesn't matter.
It does matter because what you don't know is it's the longest light.
It's very long.
It literally doesn't change for 5 minutes. I'm waiting and I'm like, oh my God, it's going to happen. And this like, it felt spicy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I
like
hate this story.
if my asshole had taste buds, it would have had like a habanero. And it hit me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to shit. And then the light changes. I'm crossing the street and I'm like, I can't hold it anymore. I can't. And I just let it happen. And I shit. And I could tell there was more to be had, but I had to stop it. And I was like, no. And I'm wearing just these little spandex shorts. And then I try running, but then it keeps like shaking the shit out more. I know. And the whole time I'm like, heh. I get home. I burst in. The dog looks at me. I'm like, out of my way. And
yeah, even the dog's like, I shit where I should. Why are you not doing that?
Exactly. And I run to the bathroom and just pure,
pure shit
comes out.
Yeah, you've done enough details. I really think you have to not.
And I'm moaning and groaning.
Don't feel like you have to pepper in every detail. You're not writing a Stephen King novel about this.
I took off my undies. I actually put them in one of Shangela's poo bags and I chucked them outside. I'm like, I'll deal with this later.
I mean, the best part was, yeah, I was away, but I get ring cam notifications. So I noticed that the ring cam went off and went after you were like, okay, I made it home. And then I open the ring cam app and all I see is you with these sacks these sad sacks, literally sad sacks on the way to the garbages.
Yeah, I was throwing out my poopy undies.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was actually horrible, and I didn't recover for the whole day because I looked it up, and it was heat exhaustion.
Yeah, of course.
And because I didn't have enough electrolytes, I didn't have carbs, which is really stupid of me.
Yeah, you got a carb load, man.
But yeah, it's just so funny that literally the day before, I'm like, if you're shitting your pants as an adult all the time, something's wrong with you.
Yeah. Let us say that next week will involve no pants shitting or shit talk. I feel like it's been
a lot of shit talk.
A lot of shit talk on this.
Unless one of us shits our pants again.
It's not going to happen. I mean,
it might happen.
Fingers crossed for this concert tonight. I'm pretty excited, but I don't feel like I'll shit.
I don't think I'll shit because I shat a lot today.
I shit once a day, and that's enough for me. I've talked to people that are like, I shit once every 3 days. And I'm like, that's a problem. Crazy. That must feel
How do you not?
And they're healthy looking people. They're like fit looking, but I'm like, how do you... There's been a handful of times in my life where I've woken up and I'm in bed at the end of that day being like, I have not shit. And then my fear is like, well, I'm going to shit the bed. Because in my head, I'm like, I have a full 24 hours. I have this full day to get this out, and it has not gone out. So my body's going to be like, time to expel.
The body holds on to it sometimes when it feels like it needs it. Where was I the other day? And I'm like, I just wasn't shitting. Oh, in Victoria. I'm like, I did not shit today.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I shit like 7 times.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Anyway, that's the story. I just had to get it out. I had
multiple,
to get it out.
There we go.
Get it?
I do.
You know what? Why don't we change the subject and talk about what's going on in the news, Matt?
Oh, boy. Well, here's the thing with our topical news segment that we're going to dive into. I don't have my computer on me, and I was like, maybe I'll just freeball it, and we'll try to figure out what the news was this week by mentally skimming over the headlines. Because here's the thing with news. Are you checking it daily? I obsess over the news. I check it. I have resources I check every single morning.
Yeah, you do.
I listen to, there's like an NPR podcast that's like 5 minutes long with Lakshmi Singh. Lakshmi Singh. She's one of my favorite hosts on that because she's got a
love Lakshmi.
Oh, I love Lakshmi.
So in my telephone, when I scroll when I go, zip,
Yeah.
I have my top stories.
Okay, so you look at
So
the top
I'll look at my
stories.
top stories, but often it's like I'm not even going to read this headline. It's always from People magazine, and it's
People
just
magazine's gone off the rails.
the worst thing you've ever heard.
Yeah, it's like mother eats own baby, wants to eat more.
I can't even read this because it's actually triggering, and I
It's
won't even
terrible.
read this
Yeah.
this headline right now. But the one the other day was like, oh god, I can't. It's always like mother of 4 hit by transport truck driven by crazed ex-boyfriend who is also an ape that escaped from the zoo, and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah,
People
or man
magazine.
marries gun. It's a lot of.
It's that. So that these are my. I don't know why it thinks I like it because I don't even really click on them. And then it's some BuzzFeed stuff, and then it's people that I don't know who they are.
BuzzFeed's bad now. I mean, they've always
It's
been,
all
they've always
AI.
been bad because they're like, we have AI writing articles, and here's the problem with those AI articles. I'm like, well, they're mildly interesting. That's bad.
I know.
Zipsy doo, zippity doo,
Zippity doo.
Well, this
da-day.
week, what I know from the news is the government shutdown did not happen.
Yes, I keep seeing all this news of a government shutdown.
What I do know is that I do not know really what a government shutdown is. I know that it has happened in the past, in our lifetime.
We talked about it last week about
Yeah.
what it was.
Yes. They were like just not coming to work because they couldn't agree on stuff. But what's crazy is, so the speaker who like stopped the shutdown, this McCarthy fella.
Yeah, they ousted him, right?
Yeah, I think they were like, he stopped the shutdown, and they're like, you fucking loser. We wanted this. This is my understanding. And they were like, you get out of here with this.
So the speaker stopped the shutdown, and they wanted him out because they wanted basically not
I
to go to
think
work.
there was a big chunk of Republicans that were like, oh, you screwed us. How dare you? And you're the speaker. I don't even know what a speaker of the House does. I thought he just introduced people like an
I thought the
MC at a
speaker
comedy
was
show.
like, okay, we nominate someone to speak for us.
Oh, like he speaks for the full party? I thought he was like the Speaker of the House. Like he stood in the middle and then was kind of like the Jay Leno of the Senate.
For any of our beautiful listeners, we are Canadian.
Still, don't ask me about Canadian politics. Oh my God. I know that Prime Minister and I know that there's a bunch of people in a beautiful wooden room.
There's a cabinet.
Yeah, which when I heard that as a kid,
I thought they were all in a cabinet.
I thought they were all in a cabinet.
like a little elf on the shelf.
Yeah, like they were like all sleeping in tiny little beds in the cabinet, or like an advent calendar, like that advent calendar from Christmas Vacation.
Oh my God, can you
And
imagine?
you open a little window and you're like, oh, there's
Every
the
day
leader.
it's like, it's my day. And then they open it and they're like, well, this is what I have to say about the foreign policy. Okay.
Don't call your politic thing a piece of furniture.
It's the cabinet. What are they supposed to call it?
Well, they call it a party, which is also like
A Republican Party. Yeah, like woo party.
a gathering. Yeah, there's just a lot of weird political terms I don't understand. Speaker, I could have looked it up, did not. But they didn't like this guy. He's out of there, I guess.
We should just do a political podcast in layman's terms, like what we're doing now. But we're just probably so wrong.
Yeah, but what I didn't know how to feel about it. I'm like, is that good or bad? I can't tell if it's good or bad. But then one of our friends, Francesca Fiorentini,
Yes, who was very
political,
finger on the pulse.
Finger on the pulse of politics. I saw her post about that. It's good. I think she said it was good.
It was good that that the speaker is gone.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, because I agree with her views.
But then I saw something else. They're like, people are trying to rally to get Trump to be the speaker.
Oh well, that's I didn't see that.
The man don't speak good.
He don't speak no good. He speak bad.
Let's talk about this for a second. Sorry, going through my news, and this is like, hey, you'll like this from Esquire. The headline reads: Inside the underground network of church leaders tripping on magic mushrooms.
Oh, cool. Good for them.
I mean,
Church leaders, like Christian church, like priests and stuff.
I haven't read the article. God mad,
priest
God
fun.
God, magic, mushrooms, and me. There's a growing movement among religious leaders to use psychedelics like psilocybin to deepen their faith. You know what? I can attest to that because yours truly, me, Julia Lodkowitz, was in Joshua Tree this past weekend, and guess what? I did mushrooms.
The police are on their way. I'm calling the police.
An older boy gave them to me.
Who was this boy?
I actually don't even know where we got them or who got them, but I did them, and I won't name anybody I was with. We did them, and I actually did less than everybody else. Because in the past, I've done some mushroom chocolates, just a little bit, just a little half thing, just a little nibble, and I've been like really silly and goofy, and I'm like, it was just so fun. So I'm like, let's do it. So I make this beautiful dinner. This beautiful steak dinner, and we're all like, let's take it 15 minutes before, because they always take a while to kick in. So by the time we're done dinner, we'll be feeling silly and goofy, and we take it, and as we're taking our first bites, it all kicks in immediately, like so crazy, to the point where like,
what did it feel like? Because my mushroom experience is very limited. The most mushrooms I ever was on, we were in the middle of the woods, and I remember I was looking at the stars, and they were like pulsing. And I remember being like, this is the right amount. I feel good about this. So when they started to kick in, did it feel similar to a weed edible high?
It was something like I've never quite felt before. And
walls weren't melting.
Well,
I
under the circumstances, because Shanj was there, our little dog, and she was in like a mood all day, because she's weird about new environments, so she'd been hiding under the bed, and I got so in my head, I'm like, the dog's not okay.
Yeah, that's not
and
good.
So when you're already feeling, I was like, oh my God, and I was just stressing out about the dog, and then we had this idea to dress up as like Arrested Development characters, and I ended up putting on this, like, I was gonna be George Michael, and I put on this wig and this shirt, and I'm like, I just look like Matt O'Brien without a mustache. And I'm like, this is so stupid. And everybody's dressed up. And then I'm like, the dog's so confused. And then I start crying because the dogs and one of my friends.
You can't have responsibility.
You can't have responsibility. One of my friends is barfing. And then I was like, and then I look at my phone quickly. I'm like, it's 8 p.m. I'm like, I'm just going to text Matt to let him know that I'm fine if I don't respond. Whatever. And then I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, oh no, like texting you was so hard. I was like, the phone's going crazy. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I've never seen the movie Old, that M. Night Shyamalan one or whatever. Yeah. But I was like, that is me. I'm like, it's like I could see myself dying. I looked so bad, and I looked so old, and I'm wearing this shitty wig, and I'm like, my dog's distressed. I'm on mushrooms. I'm a horrible person. I was just like, oh my God. But then I calmed down. We went outside. I'm looking at, and it was kind of like kaleidoscope things. You'd look at one of your friends. I'm like, well, my friend has no face. Yeah. Or my friend's wearing a helmet. And then once everything kind of calmed in a bit, I just got really like, what is the universe and whatever.
Well, that's where you're supposed to be at. Yeah.
It happened so fast.
I think because you were inside. I think mushrooms are a very environmental thing where like, people I have seen on a lot of mushrooms are like, I can't leave this room, or I can't. And you also were dressed not like you.
Yeah.
And had responsibility of taking care of dogs. So that was too much. You needed some sort of a Sherpa or some sort of.
Once we went outside, it was good. We were in the hot tub. It was fun. We were laughing, having a nice time. We kept getting mad at the moon, which was so hilarious.
It's an easy thing to get mad at.
To just yell at the moon.
Sometimes it's too big, and you're like. Take it easy.
But then you wouldn't want to change your environment, because you're like, I'm happy here. But you're like, but I've been in this hot tub for a while. Or you'd be like, we've been in here for hours. And then our friend's like, hey, here's something. But from the time that we sat down to dinner, took mushrooms, got changed into our costumes, got out and been in this hot tub, she's like, it's been under 45 minutes. We're like, what? Because you're like, that has been 6 hours. It was a lot. So yeah, I get it. I get why these people are trying to deepen their faith by taking psilocybin.
Isn't the Christian faith or most religions based on hallucinogenics? I think that's what most of them are based on. Like if you go early, I remember hearing about this.
I feel like this podcast should be called Uneducated Takes.
Listen, you know what? People aren't listening to this for actual facts.
No,
this is called.
There should be
factoids with Matt and Julia.
No, this is called Is This What You Want? And if it's not what you want, again, don't listen to it. But
two morons try to figure it out.
I feel like we represent a lot of we're two idiots, and everybody is a bit of an idiot.
Yeah. We're not the stupidest, but we're definitely dumb.
We're not the stupidest is probably a better name for this podcast.
We're not the stupidest, but you probably shouldn't listen to most of what we're saying.
We're not the stupidest. Question mark?
No, that's good that they're exploring, because I do need to go on a big mushroom trip, I think. Everyone that does it correctly is like, I saw life and I appreciate
Yeah.
blah blah blah, and there is some therapeutic aspects to it that I want to experience, but yeah, not while taking care of a little chichibo.
Not a
chihuahua.
chichibo. It was, and after a while, it was fine. And I actually took her out with me, and we were all just bundled in a blanket, and I had her on her little leash, and she was just cuddled up with me. I'm like,
Yeah.
this
That's nice.
is nice. It was nice. It was really nice, but yeah, maybe we'll do it together.
Yeah, let's do that. And the other article that came to mind this week is because there's a heat wave right now. Also,
wave!
like a heat wave in Canada. I was talking to my parents. It was my mom's birthday last week. Shout out Maria O'Brien.
Happy birthday, Maria.
Happy birthday, Maria Lynn O'Brien. And they're like, it's a friggin' heat wave here too. I'm like, this is crazy. It's the beginning of October. It's fall. And there was an article this week, and it was like climate scientists are like baffled by this, and in quotes, bananas. Oh,
I saw that.
They were
I
like,
saw that.
When a scientist is calling something bananas,
Like that's
bad.
That's bananas.
I think that's bad because they have so many
they
science
could say
terms.
severe.
Yes.
Like
they have a lot of official terms.
unprecedented. But they're like, this is straight up bananas.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of bananas, one of my friends was when I'm crying and looking at Shanj and she's under the bed and she's a bit scared. I'm like, it's okay, and I'm petting her. And then through the sliver of my door, I look at my friend and she's just dressed in a banana costume, and I'm like, that's not a person. But it was her in a banana, and then my tears turned to laughter. And that was bananas.
Yeah, you guys didn't do this right. You guys did.
We did it right. We were in Joshua Tree. We took the onset. I can't stress how much it's like.
But you also didn't have a meal in you. You had just mushrooms in
because
you.
everybody seemed to think they're like, oh, I've done mushrooms before after a meal, and they didn't kick in. It didn't work, and then we didn't have enough. But guess what? The amount of squares we took, I'm like, thinking back, I'm like, this is stupid. The last time I did this, I took like a nibble, and this time I took like almost 4 squares.
Yeah, that's crazy. Rule of thumb for alcohol or any kind of drug is have the meal first and then work your way into the fun time. Because at least
I guess
if your body is like, oh, this is a bit much, it's mixed in with proteins and whatnot.
And apparently orange juice helps the onset of it, so we all had orange juice before too.
That's what I've heard too. I don't know if that's true.
Oh.
But
And then we all started laughing about Beauregard. You know the Muppet Beauregard?
well, I do because you sent me the clip. You sent it to me that night. You must have been fine enough to send me that clip.
Oh my God. Okay.
But I was like, that was the last text I got from you that night. Got back from my shows, and it was this video of a Muppet in a chair playing the harmonica so aggressively that he flies off of his chair and goes through a window. Beauregard, that's the one Muppet I didn't know. I guess he's a janitor.
He's a janitor,
right?
and they describe him. They're like, he's a slow man, a simple man, but who can lift like so much more than his body weight. So he's just this dim-witted janitor who's like carrying around like an anvil. Anyway, look at Beauregard video, and it's him on a porch, and he flies through the window. And that is a true metaphor for our trip. It's like it starts slow, and then it goes so fast, and then you're off the deep end.
And he just goes flying through the window.
It's Beauregard. We kept being like, life is pre and post Beauregard. I'm like, we live in a post Beauregard world.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was pretty exciting. But like, why don't we talk about something warm and fuzzy that happened this week?
We should in one of two last segments.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Before we head off to our concert tonight, which what time is it? Oh yeah, we're right on the money here. It's going to be a bit of a shorter episode, but we're going to talk about something warm and fuzzy. So what's something nice that happened this week?
I mean, why don't you go? You were in the Bay Area. You were doing shows.
Oh, that's right. I was like almost stuck. So yeah, I drove up to Alameda. I was at the Alameda Comedy Club, which is exciting for me because I have been like, I didn't have the confidence to like email clubs and be like, I am a comedian, book me. Now I have that confidence and it's working.
Yes.
Because I'm like, I'm more than able to do this. And so I booked a whole weekend there, and it was just cute. The whole town is cute. It's sandwiched in between Oakland, which is sort of a scary place, and San Francisco, also kind of a scary place. But Alameda is just like this weird little pocket, and there's a bunch of rich people there. But I got to explore the town, and the shows were great. Actual like fans came out, which was
Isn't that nice that you had like people from your Facebook page that are there just for you? They see you on the marquee, and they're like, "That's who I'm going to see."
But it was. I told you the funniest part was there was this couple in the front row, and it was one of the last shows, and they just looked so annoyed. My opening set, they were just like arms crossed. Like I saw her sigh. She was like. And I was like, you haven't laughed at anything. And she literally looked at me. She goes, "Are you going to talk about Costco?" I'm like, yeah.
This is the curse and the blessing of branding yourself, because sometimes some people are just so into the brand. They're like, do it.
Do it already.
Be the Costco guy.
It was that episode of The Simpsons, the "I didn't do it" kid.
Yeah.
Say the phrase, Bart. I didn't do it. And
Yay.
so both that couple, and then when I started doing my Costco bits, then they're like visually, they were just like, like relief.
Just the relief in their body.
Here we go. Like not even laughing loud, but just happy to hear it in public.
It's like a little like safety blanket. It's like it's a comfort for them.
Yeah. There was a couple cute things that happened. There was also I did one of my jokes about ghosts, and I cut it short because I can cut it short to a punchline that works and then move on. But then this one guy in the front row, I cut it short, and he goes, whoa. He goes, "Finish the ghost bit." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I know that bit. I watched it online." He goes, "Can you do the rest of it?" I'm like, okay. And then I finished it, and again with a relief, he's like, "Oh, okay, there we go." Like,
it sounds like you have a lot of neurodivergent fans who are like, "No, this is the way it is."
Yes. How dare you go off the beaten path?
Which is kind of nice, because it's like with comics, often they're like, "Oh, they're repeating material," whereas like, we're going to a concert tonight.
Yeah.
I'm like, he better play the hits and the songs that I want to hear. But with comedy, they're like, why isn't it new stuff? But it's so refreshing when people like want to hear the jokes that you've done in the way that you've done it. It's kind of nice.
It's something I've never experienced. In my years of doing comedy in Canada, no one would ever remember me. And then all of a sudden, it's very odd. But the craziest thing that happened in Alameda was I was wearing a Hawaiian shirt like I do. I was walking around town, seeing the town. I was going vintage shopping. I went to this brewery on an old naval base, which was really odd. And then I was walking by this street, and there's a bunch of people in Hawaiian shirts. And then so I just kind of started following them because I'm like, well, I should probably go where they're going. And they were going to this tiki bar, and there was like this tiki market, the Hawaiian tiki market.
Like a farmer's market, but everything tiki.
Everything's tiki and Hawaiian. And I walk up to the front area there, and people are kind of getting checked in. And they're like, "You're here for the tiki market, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah. Okay." They're like, "It's $10. I'm like, okie dokie. And I even told them, I was like, "Listen, I didn't even know this. I just kind of dress like this all the time." And they're like, "That's amazing. Yeah, you belong here.
Yeah, you're Mr. Tiki. You should be here."
And yeah, everyone was just super fun and friendly, and they're getting their fucking tiki on and having a nice Hawaiian time in a place where you didn't think that would happen. So that was nice.
Getting their tiki on.
Get your tiki on. What's something nice that happened to you this week? I think we might just, because I think that was stupid for this week, is you shitting your pants. And
maybe me shitting my pants. That was pretty.
That's pretty stupid.
But
let's end on you, something nice happening to you.
Okay, I did have a really good stupid thing though.
Did you? Okay, maybe I'll do the nice thing and you do the stupid thing.
What? I want to do a nice thing too. Okay, listen. It's going to be nice and then stupid. Okay, so I guess quickly the nice thing was Joshua Tree. It was nice having a girls' weekend. I haven't done that in like a long time, where it's like a crew of like 4 of us, just the gals, some dogs, friends who are really busy who I haven't seen in a long time, and we all just got to like let loose and be stupid and have a nice time. And even with the crying and the mushrooms and the everything, like we are all like, that was fun.
Yeah.
Like it did make me feel warm and fuzzy. Something really stupid, and you were there and you can attest. So I went to the North Hollywood Film Festival.
Oh yeah.
And because a little short that I was in was nominated, so I'm like, oh yeah, let me go to the party. Who doesn't like a party? They're like, a Getty Images photographer is going to be there. I'm like, perfect. So we get in our little outfits, we go there. First of all, it's rammed full of actors. Which is fine. And there's a downstairs bar. And she's like, the bar upstairs is pretty busy, but like if you want to get a drink in the downstairs bar, you can. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you so much. I'm like, unless the upstairs bar is open bar. And she's like, yes, the upstairs bar is open. I'm like, okay, but is it open bar? She's like, it's an open bar. I'm like, is it an
a who's on first situation?
Yeah. And then Matt's like, Drinks for free bar or drinks for no free bar?
Drink pay or drink no pay? Like what? I don't know how you want me to say
And
this.
then she went, and we went, okay, it's fine, thank you. And then we go to the bar downstairs, and there's literally nobody downstairs. There's a bartender standing behind the bar. I come to the closest area of the bar where I am, and I go, hey, and she goes, hi, I can help you down here.
That's the craziest thing a bartender's ever said.
Down here? Wait, it's the whole bar. Either you shuffle over 2 steps or I shuffle over. So I shuffle over 2 steps. And I say, and I'm looking at the menu. I don't see any wine. I'm like, do you have wine? She's like, yeah, we have red or white. She said, we have red or white. And I go, what's the red? And she goes, like audibly sighs.
Yeah.
And then she's like, we have a Pinot Noir. We have a Cabernet. And I'm like, oh, we'll get the Pinot Noir. I'm like, sorry, I thought you said you only had like one or the other. Like you either had a red, like a red or a white. And she's like, yeah, that's what I said, red or white. And I almost was like, we need to leave. We need to leave. It was, but then she's like $9. I'm like, in this economy, that's
The price
a steal.
is right.
A $9 glass of wine in LA is unheard of. And it was in a really nice
You
glass.
also like can't really do anything about customer service at like jobs like that anymore. I like really let a lot of it roll off now because I'm like, no one's working these days at these jobs.
Oh, I'm not gonna write a bad review. I'm not.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not gonna say anything to her face. But
But
also,
it sucks.
But also, like, what would I even say to her face? Because it was. I was just so like, but, what? And then I tipped like 30%. I'm like, what am I doing? Anyway, it was very, very stupid. But you know what's not gonna be stupid?
What?
Tonight
We're going to see Thundercat at the Greek Theater. Never been to the Greek, but we're going to leave literally after I hit stop on this podcast.
Yeah.
We're going to squeeze some piss out of the dog and then hit the concert. And
we're gonna take little edibles, no mushrooms.
No mushrooms tonight.
Matt's
but,
wearing his captain hat. I'm gonna wear an orange visor and a fanny pack, and Matt's gonna wear my bachelorette fanny pack that says "wife of the party."
So, listener, next week, fingers crossed that tonight's concert is a warm and fuzzy and not a that was stupid. So you'll have to find out next week which category it falls in. It's going to fall in one of the two. It has to. That's it for the podcast. If you want to find us online, it's Julia Comedy over there, and it's Matt O'Brien on Instagram over here. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back next week. I promise you. Check out our clips coming out every Wednesday. You gotta love it. Thundercat for life.
Bye.
Not a creature was stirring, yet the stomach growls. I must get my satisfaction the only way I know how. My craving's making me blind. I must be losing my mind. I'll eat it straight off the rind if it kills me. Night melon, oh so sweetly. This secret moonlight fruit bite keeps me alive. Honey, do me.